Hello, I'd like to share some memories that I have from my childhood. Today is a day to honor Mrs. Tapley. She was our teacher, our protector, the enforcer, and sometimes she was just our babysitter because we were kind of spoiled. She kind of spoiled us. I remember on Mondays, she would take us to that track located behind Meridith, that grass dirt track, and she would tell us to take off running. She would encourage us by blowing that whistle. She would be screaming and yelling for some of us to start running and for some of us to quit walking. You see, I remember on Tuesdays that we would go outside and play football or soccer or baseball or something. Miss Tapley was always there keeping the score because she knew some of us would do anything to win, and we would cheat if we had to. Well, I remember in baseball, she would be out there calling the balls and the strikes and the outs, and she would be calling attitudes out as well. I remember on Wednesdays, we would be exercising somewhere in the gym, jumping back and forth, jumping over this long sticks to the rhythm of music. Miss Tapley was always there to start the music, to encourage those that were too shy to participate. She would encourage them to join in. She would even demonstrate and show you how to do it or how it was supposed to be done. But she was something special. I want to tell you, I remember on Thursdays, we would break into small groups inside the gym and play board games or different type of games, and we would rotate probably every 7 to 10 minutes. Miss Tapley would always be there, making sure that we didn't take 2 turns at the most fun stations, Foursquare. And then on Fridays would be the big day, because on Fridays we would have relay races. You know, she would have us, that was a special day for all the kids. She would have us running forward, running backwards. She would have us bear crawling. We would race holding an egg on a spoon. Come on now. I remember racing, hopping in the bag. I think our ankles were tired and our hands were tied up. Oh my God. She would have us racing, dribbling a basketball with our weak hand. Man, balls would be flying everywhere. But Miss Tapley was always there. She was always there to encourage us. I remember we would race hard back and forth from the end of the gym, and then we would have to rush to sit down in perfectly formed lines. And if the teams were uneven, she would pick someone to go twice. And it wasn't always the fastest person. Man, she was special. She had a way of making everybody feel special. After thinking back, no matter what the activity was, as I think back to it today, she would always at some point say, "I love you." I can't remember a day that she didn't say that. By the way, I want to tell you, she was probably the most successful track coach in the history of Temple and in the history of track because of the little Wildcat relays. I remember we would run hard because we were Meridith Panthers. We would represent Meridith. But when you heard Miss Tapley scream your name, you ran faster and harder because you didn't want to let her down. Because you know how much she had already invested in you. Bo and Kim, I want to tell you, Bo and Kim had to share their mother with Temple. Today I want to thank you because we know it wasn't easy. You see, growing up, we would listen intently to our parents, our neighbors, our teachers, and our coaches as they would try to enlighten us by speaking motivated words and sharing stories of success. Those words and those stories have shaped us and changed us into who we are and to who we became. A motivating quote from my childhood I remember, in life it doesn't matter where you come from, but it's more important to know where you're going. And I can sort of agree with that. I thank her for that message and for ingraining in us a vision that our eyes couldn't see at the time, but our hearts and minds believed in instantly. Today's message is important because as we celebrate life, as we celebrate sacrifice, and as we celebrate overcoming tragedy to win, Mrs. Tapley's death is not a tragedy. Mrs. Tapley's death is an example on how to live your life in giving to others. Today or soon, you may be celebrating something new in your life or something old. You may be celebrating a new job, a new home, a new life, or you may be celebrating the retirement of an old friend or reminiscing about the good old days. But someday, you may find yourself celebrating the homegoing of a difference maker. You may find yourself standing over a casket, reflecting and rejoicing and reflecting again. Miss Tapley would encourage us. She would encourage us and she would give us chips and candy to get our attention. I remember her saying, it's important to know where you're going in life, so prepare yourself. You see, the chips and the candy has long been gone, but her encouraging words and motivation have moved into a permanent space into who we became. I hope y'all hear me today. We should be thankful as we celebrate the important achievements and accomplishments in our own lives. But we should never forget those that helped shape us to get there. Thank you, Mrs. Tapley. You see, we need to always be ready and prepared just in case a new opportunity arises or in case we find tragedy squatting on our front porch. This is not a tragedy today, but unexpected tragedy may have already backdoored some of you, may have invaded your space, and if that's the case, I hope that you were prepared and ready. After the pain, I hope that a strong foundation and a positive example was left. An example on how to treat people, how to forgive and to forget and to move on. An example on how to fight back, survive, hold on, and how to lift others. Mrs. Tapley's life was an example of this. There's a difference in being prepared and ready than it is to be ready and unprepared. Being prepared and ready and protected with the shield will protect you from hitting rock bottom. As you go through the storms of life, I also believe that it's important to know where you come from. Most of us come from imperfect families of sacrifice that gave major advice. We have great families. I didn't say perfect families, but today as I share a few more words of encouragement with you, I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes. You see, greatness has nothing to do with living a perfect life, but a life of impact has everything to do with greatness. Miss Tapley had a huge impact on a whole lot of people. We've been blessed. So I want to tell you today, get your head up. It does matter where you come from, and it does matter where you're going. We must be motivated to make the opportunities and the sacrifices of those that we have lost. We must make their sacrifices count. But no matter your ending or your beginning, it's what's done in the middle that really counts. Make your middle more important than your beginning. As you live your life, make your middle continue to live past your ending. We have an example of that. Your life can be used to waste a life, or your life can be used to make a difference. Today we honor a difference maker, Mrs. Joyce Tapley. She fought a good fight. She overcame obstacles. She demonstrated strength. But most importantly, she was prepared. So let us rejoice today. We must consider her as a champion, and we must consider ourselves as winners if we make her sacrifice count. Make the sacrifice of our warriors of protection and our warriors of guidance. Make their sacrifices count. As you travel back home, or as you celebrate and reflect on this great life, I ask you to remember, in life it does matter where you come from, but it's more important to know where you're going. Be prepared and ready. And I can sort of agree with that. God bless you today.